Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space where we discuss everything relationship and love. I am your host for tonight, Osayua Mestali, and tonight on the show we will be having a conversation on the topic: Can true healing happen without forgiveness? And of course, I won't be doing this alone, never. As I have with me Barrister Joe and Precious Oden. They've joined me via Zoom. Hello, people. Who are we starting with? Hi,
Hello.
Precious.
Hello.
Yes. Lovely
Hey.
to meet you for the first time.
Yes, so same here. Lovely to meet you.
Yes,
You
I'm going
look
to be taking over the
amazing.
show for the next 6 weeks, every Tuesdays and Thursdays until Franca comes
Oh,
back. So for now,
My
oh,
deal
network
okay.
is bouncing.
for now, deal with me.
No problem. You're highly welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Barrister Joe, are you there? Can you hear me?
His network, yeah, I
Oh,
think he
his
said his
network.
network
Oh,
having
sugar.
issue.
Ha.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to start casting and
Uh,
binding. So all the network issues will.
As
But
in,
Precious, tell me, how have you been? How is Port Harcourt?
I've been good. Port Harcourt is good. How is Lagos?
Well, thank God the president is back to his base. Because, I went to the mainland today to have a meeting, and I just saw a lot of, what's it called, police guys on the road. I'm now wondering, hey, this man has still not left. But finally, I saw the news that he's back to base. So thank God for that.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God for that. Let him stay in Abuja.
And rule from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. But I hear Rivers, a lot of calm is coming back. Hopefully your governor
Yeah.
will be reinstated.
Hopefully. I don't even know what month we are in.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
they gave him 6 months break, so I don't even know what month we are in, but it's not
Hmm.
been easy, but at least it's getting better.
Yeah. But I
We
think it's
we know how to adapt, so we've adapted.
absolutely. This is the third month, I believe. So yeah,
Yeah,
things will be fine. Everybody will be all right last. Okay,
I'm
so do we have
telling you,
Sajo
last
now? Okay, Sajo. Okay. All right. So
um
please note that you can share your story with us via our WhatsApp line is 081-803-84663. To join the conversation, you can also call in live. It's 070250077749 or 0701424220. Remember, you can always also subscribe to our YouTube channel, is at Official Upgrade TV. Just share the live link to anyone who you think should be part of the conversation. Remember, we're talking about forgiveness, right? We're talking about healing, right? Can true healing happen, without forgiveness? That's the conversation for tonight. All right, so Precious, again, let's just quickly let me hear your thoughts, right? Because sometimes we use some words loosely and it doesn't seem like we have an understanding of what that word means, right? So if you are to give me like what's it called? An explanation or a definition of what true healing means, what would it be? Is it a physical, is it an emotional thing, is it a spiritual thing, is it a relational thing, or what is it in your own what's it called, your own understanding? What does true healing mean?
okay, so when you're talking about true healing, you're talking about something that is personal. So it differs from person to person. And just like you rightly mentioned, it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be spiritual. But true healing is available to everyone. It just depends on the depth to which they want to assess or the means through which they want to assess the healing.
Hmm. That's a very interesting thing to say. When you say it's
Yes.
available to everyone, uh, no matter the depth of the grievance, because there are some
Yes, it's
people
available
that,
because
Precious, I've heard some people say that this one, there's no coming back from it. Do you understand? Like, he's not,
yes,
nothing is
yes.
going to change. There's no coming out of this. So in that person's mind, this is beyond forgiveness. I can't even move past it. So when you say it's available to everyone, is it available to everyone or it is available to those that allow it happen? Because you must also give the permission for you to be able to heal.
Yes, yes.
Mm,
So that's why we're saying it's available, but it
mm,
depends on the individual. So when we're talking about can true healing happen without forgiveness, The answer is yes. Because there are
Hmm.
people who might not get to the point of forgiving, but they decide to move on.
Hmm.
Some people can find healing through closure, some can find healing through acceptance, which is what most of us do in Nigeria.
Hmm.
Because we just accept that, oh, okay, this thing I've agreed is my fault. Can we just move on?
Hmm.
And then we move on from there
Ha.
without the person who hurt us saying, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
asking for forgiveness. We just decide to move on for our own personal peace of mind and, emotional and spiritual or physical growth.
Hmm. That's interesting. That is
Yeah.
really interesting. Hmm. Just accept your fate. Okay, so
It's complex, so it's complex.
so what does forgiveness now mean? Because what you've explained, right? Sometimes people just feel it is like you said, forgetting about it, just letting go of the anger and just simply moving forward. But some
Yes.
people feel forgiveness is reconciliation. It means that we have mended the fences and all of that.
Oh, I have a personal
Oh yeah,
experience.
share.
So
Oh.
I fell out of friendship with a friend, and people till date, people expect that because I say, she asks for forgiveness, we should go back to being friends. And I'm standing my ground and saying, look, I am done. I have moved on. You and I can no longer be friends. So the fact that someone has asked for forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation must take place. That's a misconception.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it's personal. So however you decided to look at it, me, I saw it in a different way. You cannot now tell me that my feelings were not valid, that what I saw was not valid. I decided to choose the path that says, look, I don't want to come in contact with you again. I don't want to have anything to do with you again. I'm happy for the time we were friends. I'm happy for the period, we interacted. But moving forward, please, can you go to part A? Why me, follow part B? And it's really difficult because society will put pressure on you to
Hmm.
reconcile.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, that might not even be the right thing for you to do at that point in time.
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, you are spot on because yeah, I mean, these are part of the lineup of what I feel we should expand our mind around the conversation today. But I hear Sajo is back.
Yes,
Sajo,
he's back.
thank you for joining us. Good evening.
I just could not hear you, and I guess you are not hearing me. But
Yeah,
I
I
wanted,
wasn't hearing
yeah,
you at all. Thank you
Yes,
for
yes.
joining me this
watching
evening.
over you. I was.
So I don't know, did you get the most part of the conversation or you just literally started
I
hearing what
didn't.
was okay?
I
Okay,
I
so
didn't
let's
at
just quickly
all.
touch on your own perspective because I started off the conversation by asking Precious, what does it mean to truly heal? What do we mean by true healing? Because is it an emotional thing? Is it a physical thing? Is it a spiritual thing? Is it a relational thing? In your own based on your experiences, when somebody says, "Okay, I've gotten to that point of true healing," what does that mean?
Okay. First, the form of healing that you'll be expecting is dependent on the injury cost. If you're emotionally injured, you'll be looking for emotional healing. I do not subscribe to spiritual healing with respect to relationship or forgiveness. That is too esoteric. That's between you and your God. But I think, yes, you can emotionally heal, you can physically heal, depending on the harm that was done to you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Why don't you subscribe to spiritual healing? Because I have seen some people argue that, the only person that was able to get them out of that situation was the presence of a more superior being. Some would say the Holy Spirit helped them, they were able to let go. So why don't you subscribe to that?
I was trying to avoid spiritual conversation. I was trying to avoid the esoteric conversation.
Hmm.
Because if we go deeper into spiritualism, what that will unveil is that there is really nothing outside. It is what is within and without that forms the whole.
Hmm. Hmm.
There is no external force whether you are a Christian or a Muslim or a Hinduist or even a traditionalist, you discover that all that is required of you is within. So it is your ability to connect to your higher being, which some would name names, give name, describe the way they want to describe, and then interface with that connection with your immediate surrounding, which also extends to the universe, that people tend to refer to spiritualism or Holy Spirit. So I try, except I'm in a spiritual environment, I try not to discuss spiritualism because there are very few human beings I have met that really do understand spiritualism. Most people I meet are very religious people and totally empty in the spiritual realm.
And I hear you. And that's because we're a very, very religious society. So definitely you get a lot of that. Not many people have deep understanding of what it means to be a spiritual being, right? But Sajo, in your own experience, what is forgiveness to you? What does it mean for you?
Now, my understanding of forgiveness is first and foremost that
Oh, did we lose him again? Okay, Precious, you know what we'll do? We'll go on a very short break, right?
no, you
When we
did not.
come back from that break, I want to, dive deep into the conversation, right? Can true healing happen without forgiveness? I mean, we'll just kind of unpack a lot of this. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Heartlines will be right back.
This season on Heartlines, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlines, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlines is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m., so engage with us.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
All right, thanks for staying tuned, right? If you just joined us, we're having an amazing conversation already. I mean, we just kicked off with the topic, can true healing happen without forgiveness, right? I mean, if you listen to different perspective from both Precious and Sajo, you would know that, yes, you are in for a great conversation tonight. Precious, I want to come to you, right? Because again, the reason I'm taking it bit by bit is for us to be able to break it down nicely so that by the time we're hitting the home run, right? The final lap of the conversation, we would have touched on every angle. Do you think forgiveness has a universal explanation or a universal definition? Because remember what Sajo talked about, that the forgiveness that you would require would be probably based on the kind of emotional hurt that you have, right? So if it is an emotion, I mean, based on the hurt that you are meted with. So if it is emotional, you're seeking emotional healing. If it is your forgiveness, So do you think forgiveness in its sense, the word, right? Do you think it has a universal definition? Because for some people, forgiveness feels like it is empowering, right? For other people, it feels like it's a betrayal. Other people, it's just, let me just deny that this pain exists, right? So what is the real definition of forgiveness if we were to define it? And does it even have a universal definition?
Okay, so forgiveness has various definitions. But what you need to understand about forgiveness is it is a personal journey. So it is not imposed on anyone. It is not even demanded of everyone. And it looks different to everyone. So while, for instance, I offend you and I'm asking for forgiveness, you might not even see the forgiveness I'm asking for. You might still look at it and say, Precious still has pride. She's not really asking for forgiveness. So it depends on where you're looking at it from. So I would say it doesn't have a universal definition, but it has key aspects that no matter where you're looking at it from, one or two of these aspects are supposed to play a role. And I'm going to give some examples. For instance, forgiveness should, for some persons, would mean like an emotional release. So for them, that is their definition. Once I think about that thing that you've done to me and I no longer feel the initial pain and hurt, then that means I've forgiven you. For some, it can be a choice. I choose to forgive you, whether you ask for that forgiveness or not. For some, it is a process. So I hear people say, but I don't beg you now, waiting make you never still forgive me. It's a process for some persons. Why for some persons, it's instant. Some can take 1 year to process the hurt and the pain and the betrayal, whatever it was that happened, before they can actually, forgive. And then for some, it can make them start to think, I call it self-reflection, so they begin to think a lot. So forgiveness doesn't have a universal definition. It depends on where you're looking at it from. And like Sergio said, it depends on how the hurt happened in the first place. So if someone hurts me physically, the person cannot be asking for emotional forgiveness because that's not what I have to give. I'm looking for the physical forgiveness while the person is busy asking for emotional forgiveness. Our wavelengths are different.
So it's interesting how you're saying this, right? Because for you now, given the example that you gave about your friend, right?
Yes.
Some would feel like, no, Precious, Precious hasn't really forgiven, because people just believe that, yeah, by the time you forgive truly, right, it should happen that you are able to bring back that thing. But that is even something we'll delve into much later, right? But the question around, is it possible for us to be able to reclaim our lives without forgiving the person that hurt us, right? I think it still circles around that conversation, because sometimes people say, I beg you, I've moved on. But you have moved on. Let's even take, for instance, a man and a woman. You are in a relationship with this man, right? And he hurt you deeply, or you're in a relationship with the woman and she hurt you deeply. Then you find yourself that, okay, you've left that relationship. You then move on to the other relationship, a new human being. But you are projecting the baggage from the previous relationship, right? Yeah. So when I hear people say things like, I beg, it's all in the past, I've moved on, right? I keep wondering, is it really in the past? Because sometimes it comes back to haunt us in our present, and we're not able to move forward, right? So is it possible, Precious, for somebody to reclaim your life without forgiving, the person that hurt you? Like, without really letting go of that person, can you really move on? Because somebody will look at you and say, Precious, na lie, you never forgive that girl. You understand? You see the whole land for belle. That's what they'll say.
Yes. So now this is it. Again, it depends on your interaction with this particular person. How integral was that person to your everyday life? If it's a relationship between a man and a woman and one party hurts the other, and then I decided to go their separate ways to end the relationship or end the marriage, you cannot. So even if you cut off the person from your life, you're always going to feel something is missing. But the fact that something is missing doesn't mean you are no longer complete. Completion is not tangible. So you can heal. Forgiveness has to be asked and given. Now, some people don't ask for forgiveness, but people still give forgiveness even when the forgiveness was not asked for. And then some really ask for the forgiveness and the forgiveness will not be given. And yet they move on. So it depends on exactly what, because really some hurts are terrible. Some hurts are, when they say heartbreaking hurts. And so that's where we say healing or forgiveness can also be a process. So if it's going to take you 3 years, 4 years, please, it is your journey.
Own
And
it.
don't allow any, yes, only don't allow anybody tell you, I don't think you have really, you know, I remember years back, there was a conversation I was having with a couple of persons and some family members were there. And one of my relations said, I know if this is what you people are saying about Mr. A, then that means Mr. A has not really forgiven his wife. And I'm like, are you Mr. A? Are you his emotions? Are you his feelings? Are you the actions that took place? Mr. A has a right to interpret what happened according to the way he wants to interpret it. The wife asked for forgiveness and he decided not to forgive. Doesn't mean Mr. A is a bad person. It just means he needs to process it differently. Do you know that 3 years down the line, the man had finally gotten to the point where he now forgave the wife. They got divorced, yes, but they needed to like trash out some things. So he needed to walk through the emotions he was feeling and all of that and have closure and everything. And then before they now decided to have a conversation, and then he said, okay, now I have truly forgiven you. So it's this issue about forgiveness and true healing is a complex topic because it's in fact is diverse. So what works for A will not work for B.
Absolutely.
You and your person quarrel and forgive each other immediately doesn't mean that I have to do the same.
You know, I mean, I can totally relate with what you're saying because I'm that one person. I believe I take my time to process things, right? So that's why even with anger, you don't see me act immediately. Neither do you see me. I would take my time, right? I will process it. I will take my time. And even when you hurt me, you know, I do a lot of deep introspecting. I do a lot of reflections. I'll go back. Okay, why did this happen? So you'll be wondering, you know, because sometimes, and the good thing about me is that I am very quiet doing that. Some women are more expressive, but I try to be quiet because I feel like, again, when I see women do that, I see men complain, oh, you are nagging me. You understand? Because I can be that nag inside myself, right? Just literally thinking about and reprocessing it in my head. So what will take you, you know, 2 seconds to let go of, I can think about that thing maybe 1,000 times just to think and process. Okay, because I always ask, why did it happen? Why did this happen? You know, so that I can get more clarity and probably now find ways to move on. But I hear Sir Joe is back again. You know, tonight we cover our, Sir Joe said we should not be spiritual. Oh, he's out again. Oh, sugar. But okay.
He's back again.
He's back? Okay. Is he back? Is he out? Where are you, Sir Joe?
He's back. The network is really bad on
Oh, sugar. Oh, sugar. But Precious, I was going to ask that, why is forgiveness important? Because you know why? Sometimes, right, forgiveness is something that we do for, people say, oh, I'm doing it for the other person. But I've come to realize that forgiveness is not really about the other person, it's about ourselves, right? For me personally, because I am a creative, I hardly hold a grudge, right? And the reason I don't hold a grudge is because I need my mental space to be clear so that I'm able to creatively work. I don't know if you understand. Some people can function holding somebody. You know, my sister used to say something that, oh, I don't understand the kind of person where you be, oh, you know, like literally some people have really done some really bad things to me. And they come back to me years later, oh, I need help with this. And we move on like nothing happened. So I told her something. I said, Fueko, if I keep these people in my mind, do you understand? I no go feel work. I can't function. Because every time I try to do my work, these people are in front of me. Do you understand? So me letting go of these people and the hurt and everything, it is for my own mental sanity. Do you understand? I need to forgive so that I can be able to have the freedom to work. Creatives, you know, you need your mind as a creative to work. So for me, it is for my own personal reason. That is why I'm not holding a grudge. So no matter what you do to me, right, it might take a while for me to process it, but I will let it go, you know, and I just move on. But I hear Sir Joe is back. You know, Precious, I'll come back to you.
Yes, he is.
Sir Joe, are you back? Sajo, can you hear me? Okay. If you can hear me, I think you're muted if you're hearing me. Okay, I think it's his network. So, Precious, why is forgiveness important?
So forgiveness is important for various reasons. And one of them is, like you said, for emotional healing. So you need to be able to clear the mental space that this person is occupying so that you can occupy that mental space with something much more important and much more productive, to you and your well-being. For personal growth, yes. Some people just say, look, I want to have peace. So forgiveness can be important for you to have that inner peace that makes you sleep well at night, wake up in the morning, move about your activities, and it can also help you stop getting angry or resenting this person every time you think about it. So that's why when I try to talk, when I'm having a conversation around forgiveness, I tell people, try as much as possible, whether that person asks for forgiveness or not, try and forgive for your own.
Yeah, because I was just going to say to you that,
state.
Precious, some people do not even show any form of remorse. And yet
Yes,
you're
so,
still
and if you
required.
follow them,
You're still required to forgive them, right?
Yes.
That's
okay,
very.
Sajo is back.
Okay, Sajo. Sajo, can you hear us?
I'm back. I'm actually back on two.
Yes, so on two screens.
Screen. I'm trying to connect through all.
You see, Sajo, that is why we need a superior being to take over your internet, tonight. But Sajo, I mean, if you can hear me, Sajo, right? I mean, why is forgiveness important, right?
There are forces against my connection today. And I know them.
So, Sajo, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. So, I mean, Precious and I, we've been really talking about this topic extensively, right? I had asked Precious a question, right? When you forgive people, are you forgiving them because of them, or you're forgiving them, because of you? And which one is more superior? When you forgive people, for your own sake? Because, I mean, I've had a friend of mine that, she shared a story around how, her mom had cancer. And that cancer was as a result of the unforgiveness, the grudge that she held onto. The father had hurt her a long time ago and all of that. She held onto that grudge. And it was when she decided to release that grudge that, she started finding healing, in her body, right? So when we say we forgive people, right, why is it important to forgive? And when you forgive, which one is more superior? When you forgive the person for your own sanity, or you're just forgiving the person because you need to forgive someone?
Okay, now first and foremost, there is no forgiveness.
Did we just lose Sajo again? Precious.
As in, he's frozen.
You and I are here together. Yeah. Okay, Precious, let's just move away from that. Quickly, we'll take a break shortly, right? I wanted to ask you, have you ever felt pressure to forgive? I mean, that's your friend that you gave the scenario.
Oh, were you I felt pressure for so many years. So many years. Till date, every now and then, people still... Okay, so I go somewhere and they ask about her and I'm like, I don't really know. I haven't seen her in years. And they say, no, but you people were joined at the hip. And I'm like, yeah, but that was then. We're no longer friends. And they're like, you still haven't forgiven her? And I'm like, no, that's not what I said. I said we're no longer friends.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Back.
Oh, okay, yes. Sajo. Okay. I don't know how much of that question did you get?
I heard all of your question. I was just trying to speak.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Okay.
When they logged me out. Now, first of all, I do not think the idea and the concept of forgiveness is external. There is no amount of conviction, remorsefulness, or apologies that makes you forgive. You forgive because you are at that point where you are now willing and able to forgive. And the person who benefits the most from your forgiveness is you. Because truthfully, the person who hurts you, the person who caused you pain, the person who is the reason you are bitter feels nothing. That's the truth. Whether you accept it or not, he feels no pain, he feels no resentment, he feels no anger. You're the one who is harboring all the pain within for what has been done to you. So it is very important. And I have developed a pattern long ago that I even forgive people before they ask for forgiveness. And I expect hurt before it hits me. I expect that there will be betrayal. I expect that there will be hurt. I expect that there will be uh, backstabbing here and there. And I prepare the more to forgive them when it comes. Because you cannot have a sane mind. You cannot be productive. You cannot be fulfilled in life if you harbor pain. And it is really very unfair. It is very unfair that you're the one who is hurting or who has been offended that will still need to suffer for the pain, both the betrayal and the effects of unforgiveness. So,
Yeah.
to answer your question, there is absolutely nothing that accrues to the person you are forgiving. The person who benefits from your forgiveness or your decision not to forgive, the person who will suffer most is you who has not forgiven and not the person who offended you. So for that reason, I will always advise people to forgive as fast as you can. But the only caveat I will put there is that you should know the forgiveness that severes relationship. You should forgive in a way that you no longer put yourself in harm's way, particularly if this person has repeatedly been intentional in their hurts towards you.
But Sir Joe, just hearing you speak, does it mean that we need to? Because I have also come to that point in my life where I have lowered my expectations from people. I don't know if you understand. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I think we expect too much from people. And that's why we put ourselves in that position where, whatever it is that they do, gets to us. Because if you know that this person is human and is not without error, and the person is, the person is just human, right? You lower your expectation. If they supersede it, wow, okay, great. But I mean, if they then fall short, then it doesn't really have any form of effect on you. That because from the word go, you had already set it that this one, there's really nothing more or nothing much to expect, because the person is human. Is that how we should start to approach hurts and all of that going forward, just to be able to
At,
maintain our sanity?
at, at the base level of our humanity, before we have endured several hurts, we have expectation. The reason we get to the point where our expectation is lowered or totally uh, erased from our subconsciousness is that we have now created a new being who expects little or nothing from human beings because of the pain and the disappointment we have had over time. So uh, it is not in our default state not to expect. In our default state, we expect because we give. It's only proper to expect from whom you give to. If I give you love, I expect love in return. If I give you trust and loyalty, I expect loyalty and trust in return. So it is only natural for me to have such expectations from you. Which,
Okay.
in contrast to when you have received hurt over time, it is now maybe unnatural to expect those things. So that is the higher uh, reality. That is the higher development of ourself when we have gotten to that point where we are no longer expecting so much. And that is the best place to be because human beings will constantly and consistently disappoint you and hurt you. So when your expectation is lowered, it becomes almost impossible for you to feel the much pains that will come from their disappointment and that disloyalty, which is
Absolutely.
now a safe place to be.
Absolutely. So let us quickly explore the concept of self-forgiveness before we go on this break. And I want to come to you, Precious, because from what Saju has just said, what if that you are the one constantly disappointing yourself. I mean, I don't know, Precious, if you've ever been in that situation where you say, I will never do this, and you find yourself doing exactly what you said you will not do, right?
Yeah.
What do you think is more
Yes.
critical, right? Because sometimes we put ourselves in that position where we cannot just forgive ourselves for some of the errors that we have made. So this now is not even about the other person, it is about you, right? You've done
Yes.
something, you've
Yes.
hurt yourself, and I mean, you've done it and it's so bad, right? You cannot rise from it. I've seen people completely, like they just they bow like a toothless dog, just because I can't raise my head anymore. The embarrassment is too much. They are unable to rise above whatever the situation that even put them in the first place. So let's just touch a little bit on that, the concept of self-forgiveness. How important is it for us to quickly auto forgive ourselves? Because sometimes the disappointment that we get from people is not really because of them. We were the ones that allowed it, right? So
Yes.
how
Yes.
important is self-forgiveness in all of this conversation around, healing and forgiveness, the role of forgiveness?
Okay, so self-forgiveness is really important, but you have to understand how to go about it. Now, most times we find ourselves repeating a particular circle of hurt over and over again. And this is because as humans, we can sometimes overlook in self-introspection. So something happens the first time, you overlook it and you just moved on. It happens the second time. By the third time, you should be able to understand that there is a pattern, and then look out for the signs and the signals. Now, if for peradventure you still couldn't do that and you fell into that same circle of hurt and betrayal, learn to pick up yourself, dust off, whatever happened, and talk to yourself, because you can tell yourself the truth. And one of the easiest ways to do this is stand in front of the mirror. You cannot be talking to you. You're talking to somebody, you like to see the person's face. So if you're talking to yourself, don't just abstract talk to yourself. Don't just say the words in your mind. Look at the mirror and say, look, this is important that I do this. And once you have forgiven yourself, note the reason why you did so. I tell people, think about why so and so happened. Find out if what your role was in that situation getting to be as bad as it got. Think about how, if you had the chance to behave let's say the hands of time was wound back, would you, if and you were to behave in a different way, would the outcome have been different? Oh, I think it was my fault. I'm always saying yes to this person. I don't know how to say no. That means you now have to start learning on how to say no. Oh, it's my fault. I did not speak up too soon. I kept quiet for too long. And so they thought my quietness or my silence meant I was in agreement with whatever it is that was going on. So that means you now have to learn how to speak up and speak out. Sometimes you have to learn how to emphasize your point of view. So whatever is the reason why this thing keeps repeating itself again and again, only you can find out the role you play in this hurt always coming back to haunt you.
Absolutely.
So find out exactly what it is. Find out how you can help yourself. And then please, once you forgive yourself, don't say, I know myself, I'll go back and do it again. No. Believe that you now have been empowered to move beyond that hurt and,
Absolutely.
And get into true healing.
Okay, so Sajo, I want to throw that same question to you. Have you ever got into that stage
Sajo is
where
out, though. He has not come back.
Sajo is out again? Oh, sugar. Okay, you know what? Let's go on a quick break. When we come back from that break, we will continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Heartlines would be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I know see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we will bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, if you just tuned in, Hotlines is the show, and we are still discussing the topic, right? Can true healing happen without forgiveness? Our phone lines are open. You can call us on 070-2500-7749 or 070-1424-2420. You can also leave us a message on WhatsApp or live on our YouTube stream. The WhatsApp number is 081-803-84663. So, I mean, Precious, this conversation is getting more interesting, right? As I said, right, the goal for the conversation today was for us to be able to expand our minds, right, and just think holistically, right? Just to throw back the question I was trying to throw to Sergio, have you been in that position where you feel like this one, I can't forgive myself? Because if you look at the concept of people unaliving themselves, right, that concept, I feel like it is that the person have looked like this thing that has happened, I cannot move past this. And that for me is just a simple definition of what unforgiveness is, or not moving on, or not healing, right? So has there been anything that has probably happened to you that you said, no, I can't come out from this, or this is something that you have kind of trained yourself, right, to just get up and go no matter the situation?
I would say not really. I haven't gotten into any situation where I wasn't able to forgive myself. Have I blamed myself for certain things that have happened around me, to me, with me? Yes, I have. But I think apart from just being me and my kind of personality, I think being a therapist has also helped me, because I always go back into myself to say, when this thing happened, what could I have done that would have brought about a different outcome? And so I think about it. I'm like you in a way. I process something for a while. While, outside can be so noisy, everybody's making noise, I'll be quiet on the inside, processing it from my point of view, processing it from the person's point of view, trying to find a common ground to understand why, that situation took place. And one of the ways I've been able to heal is I journal. So I journal how I feel in the moment. I journal how I expect to feel in the next moment. So right now I'm feeling dejected, hurt, angry, betrayed. I journal all of that. But I ask myself, tomorrow, what are the feelings you want to feel when you think about this particular situation? And then I write down my expected emotions for tomorrow. And then I consciously walk towards making those tomorrow emotions become a reality.
Precious, just hearing you speak, something came to my mind when you were talking about journaling. This thing where we talk forgiveness, when people hurt us, what we express, are they our real feelings? Or is the expectation of how we are supposed to respond according to the world's definition? You know why I say this? Sometimes people have
Yeah.
genuinely hurt me and I really did not feel anything. Honestly, do you get my point? You know,
Yes.
Franca always used to yab me. Even they, because I know they remember. You don't do them, you don't do your own, you don't go. Me, and I really don't. I really do. In all fairness, I think the way God wired me, right? I really don't hold on to things, right? So, but
Yeah.
I realized that some things will happen, and the way you respond, people are disappointed that no, this is not how you're supposed to respond. you're,
Yes.
you're
So
supposed to show anger. You're supposed to. So now,
yes.
this anger, this hurt that we express, are they not borrowed? Like, are we truly expressing what we truly feel? Because it's not everybody that has the capacity, to be angry or yeah, no matter the hurt. Some
Anger is
people
a very
just, they
powerful
don't care.
emotion.
So
Yes,
so
not
really,
everybody can show anger. So what
mm,
happens is the world, while growing up, unconsciously, the society has told us how to behave when we feel hurt or betrayed. So much so that we have silenced our own personal reactions to certain things. And that's why sometimes there is a conflict of personalities within us, because there is the you who feels this particular way towards this hurt, and there is the you who behaves in this particular way because that is the way the society and the world has said you should react or behave towards that particular hurt. And that can hinder your healing because you're going to be healing the wrong side of you. You're going to be healing the side of you that actually does not even exist. And it might even mean that the so-called true healing might not even take place in the first place.
yeah.
Because you're going to be healing a part of you that was not hurt. Meanwhile, the real part, so for instance, you and I can be having an argument and you say something to me in the heat of the moment. I'm supposed to tell you, no, you see this particular one you said now, I don't like it. Instead, I will keep quiet. Allow you to finish talking, then go home and go and start thinking about all the things you said and start feeling bad when I could have just told you immediately and said, look, this one you said, okay, I accept this one. But you see this particular one, no, you don't get to talk to me like this. You don't get to behave
But
around me like this.
Precious, is it not a common thing that we are not trained to communicate our emotions in this part of the world?
Yes, we are not.
We're not trained.
And that's the reason why people explode. Because they bottle up a lot of hurt and pain and disappointment and betrayal. And one day, the top just comes off. And onlookers will not be like, are you sure this person is okay? Now, this small thing where they do them, now in the flare up
they
like
react
this.
like this, yeah.
Forgetting that might be a build-up, an explosion of the build-up that has happened over the years. So it starts in the home. Parents, first of all, feel that there is no way they can disappoint or betray or hurt their children. And so the children grow up in an environment where parents don't ask for forgiveness. So the children don't even learn how to ask for forgiveness in the first place. And take it like a man. And then we train women to be, don't worry, now some men, they behave.
Yeah, you also shut down the emotions of your child. You are not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then this child becomes an adult who either hurts somebody or feels hurt and now cannot know how to process it. So it's a whole lot. And this type of conversations are really important because it opens up the upcoming generation to see that there are better ways to live a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
To say, look, we can have conversations without raising our voices. We can have conversations without, blowing each other, using our fists. We can have conversations without unaliving ourselves. What makes people unalive themselves sometimes is in their mind, I've come to the end of the road. After this one, I don't think there's anything anybody can do to me that will hurt me again.
Absolutely.
The
Precious,
world hates me. Yeah.
Precious, one of the things that make people seem to be unforgiving, and I really wish Sir Joe was here, because now I would really want to understand how we could balance forgiveness with also justice or accountability, right? Because
Oh,
again,
yes.
sometimes some people do things that really, really hurt people, right? I mean, you've seen cases of people unaliving other people and all of that. The families are demanding, for justice, So yeah, there is the part of you would forgive, but there's also that balance where you then seek justice. Like you have a situation with a marriage, right?
Yes.
Repeatedly the spouse has done several things, right? I mean, you tell yourself, okay, no problem, I forgive you, but we need to have a divorce, right? We need to get a divorce. We need to go our separate ways so that I can have my sanity and all of that. So if you really wanted to dive into that conversation around healing, right, and the relevance of forgiveness in that journey of healing, right? How do we what's it called, balance, what's the role of justice? Because sometimes I think when people see that, okay, yes, justice has been, served, or this person has become accountable for the things, that the wrongs that they've done, maybe it helps to heal faster. So how do we balance forgiveness, justice, and of course accountability as we wrap up the conversation?
Yeah, I remember Sergio saying that true healing and forgiveness is nothing external, it's internal. So I tell people, I don't want to put them in a situation where I undermine their need to see justice being done. But I tell them, look at the main reason why you think justice should be done in, because even when we say justice should be done, the law has its own way of giving justice. And then as human beings, we not say, no, the law did not give the justice to our satisfaction. And so I ask, what is the role of justice in that situation? Is it to correct the behavior? Is it to stop the behavior from reoccurring? Is it to put a barrier between you and the offender? So what kind of justice? If it's spousal abuse, does unaliving your spouse end the abuse? You can meet someone else and the abuse continues. So even you divorce, yes. We tell you to we advise you to separate, yes. That's because we don't want you, your life to just end just like that. But we now say, if this justice is not enough for you, what would determine a good justice for you? And then when this justice is being done, how certain are you that you will be fully satisfied? Because sometimes inherently as human beings, all we want to do is hurt people.
Yeah.
So even in the name of justice, some people are just thinking about hurting another
because
person.
but
Hurting the
Precious,
person does not equate justice.
there's this saying that hurting people hurt others,
people
right?
hurt others.
So
Yes.
sometimes you want to just drive the same pain, and you want to see that pain being expressed the way you felt it,
And it becomes an unending circle. So there is no true healing, there is no true forgiveness, there is no true moving on, there is no closure, there is no self-growth, there is no personal growth, there is no emotional. So you now understand where some of the decadence in the society is stemming from.
Yeah.
Because these people are hurt, they have not moved on, they have not healed, and someone who is still carrying pain is now moving around, and you think the person is complete, and you jump into a relationship with that person, either platonic or a love relationship. But the most important thing is this person is not whole anymore. So, but because forgiveness and true healing is internal, we said internal rather, we say make yourself whole, heal yourself. So if I heal myself, you heal yourself. Sergio heals himself. Franca heals herself.
So we're not having broken people going around everywhere anymore.
Exactly.
So maybe that can really heal the society.
Exactly. And then you're not carrying baggage from one, relationship to the other, because you've left the baggage where it was with the previous relationship. You've healed, you've moved, you've moved ahead, you've forged ahead. I always enjoy seeing people who take that hurt and turn it into something more productive. So the energy that they were supposed to expend, getting angry, looking for how to find justice, trying to revenge, they use it and chat. Because look, that energy can actually be productive. You can sit down and think of something that will make your life even much better. I've seen people bounce back from horrible situations and they become millionaires. And you wonder where their drive is coming from. They just redirected.
They just rechanneled that energy. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, we were having so much fun. And the time is up. I mean, Precious, like we could go on this conversation because it's really not ending. I would say that truly, in my opinion, can forgiveness happen? Can healing happen without forgiveness? I would say no. You know, you really must get to that point where you forgive the person that hurt you, you forgive yourself for allowing them to hurt you, right? Then maybe, true healing can come. But thank you so much, Precious. I think we've run out of time, but we are going to continue the conversation, maybe in a different topic, but we're going to continue the conversation.
Yes,
I'm here with you people for the next 6 weeks. You are going to be managing me. But thank you, Precious. Thank you so much.
It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. So let me quickly read a comment from YouTube. It says, honestly, watching Sir Joe explain forgiveness just says he's a good man who easily forgives. Okay, I will leave that for Sir Joe to come and answer. So I just want to quickly say that maybe the question isn't whether healing requires forgiveness, but whether we are willing to redefine forgiveness so that it fits our own healing journey. So instead of you forcing healing to fit someone else's idea of forgiveness, remember what we talked about. You have to know what works for you. You have to follow your convictions, not, the standard that has been set by others. People should not define what forgiveness means to you. People should not define what hurt means to you. You should be able to tell what this means to you. So, you can't leave this life as a whole being without really letting go of some of these dead weight, I call them. And one of those things is hurt. You must drop it. All right, so please note, you do not have to bear your burdens alone. Our free counseling services are available. It's just a message away. You can send your email out at counsel@vedaconsult.com. Let's help you deal and heal. I'll see you guys tomorrow, or someone else will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening.